Right, today we're talking about something that I'm very excited about, and I normally hate these kind of films. I mean, hate them with a passion. There are people on YouTube that do them. It's just not me. I don't like speculation, but this is real. This should be dropping on November the 15th, and it is the DJI Mavic 3. Comes in two versions, the Mavic 3 and the Mavic 3 Cine. Apparently, they're both identical in terms of hardware, except for the fact that the Cine comes with a 1 TB disk and a super data high-speed cable that you can transfer really quickly from. But the price is speculation said, $1,600, but the actual prices are apparently a lot higher. We're talking about €2,000 for the standard, the Mavic 3. I think the bundle might be coming out at about €3,000, maybe a little bit less. And then you've got the Cine model, so the Big Daddy model, which is basically just a monster for pro creators. I'm guessing this is going to kill off the DJI Phantom line completely. It's going to be Mini, Air 2S, Mavic 3, Inspire 2 or 3, and then you got the Matrix. And I think the Phantom is just going to go bye-bye because it's big, it's awkward, and it doesn't fold. So who needs that when you've got something like the Mavic 3? This has been one of my favorite drones of all times, if not still my favorite drone of all time. It is the Mavic 2 Pro, and this is a drone that when you get it in the air, you feel power. You just feel it. It's not like the Mini 2. I know a lot of you here are Mini 2 fans, and the Mini 2 is great. And if you can get incredible footage out of the Mini 2 and make it look cinematic, then getting footage out of this is just simple. This is a power horse. It is raw power, just absolute raw power. And sure, it had a few, downsides like the distortion in the camera, and it was annoying. But the Mavic 3 basically turns this into a monster. Now this came in at 907 grams. The Mavic 3 is meant to be 920 grams, so a little bit bigger. It's for the big boys. Now, I wrote down a whole load of stuff here. So, November the 15th, Mavic 3 Cine. So, like I said, the SSD inside the Cine is probably what's going to, add the extra bit of money that you're going to have to pay for it. Or does anybody want to buy a car? Because I might need to sell mine to get the Cine. But, will I have to buy the Cine? I really don't think so. And the 1 GB per second data light speed cable that you get with it to download stuff really quickly. I mean, I don't think that's something I need. I can put a micro SD card, a 256 GB one, and wait half an hour for it to download. I'm not using it on a film set where I need to download stuff really quickly. But it is catered to the pros. It's going to have 2 sensors and 2 lenses, and that's pretty much a given, as you can see from all the leaks that are going around everywhere. There's a 24mm lens on it, yeah? And it's a wide lens with an 84-degree angle of view. 24mm equivalent to a 35mm frame, right? And it's done by Hasselblad once again. We all know that Hasselblad are like, the king when it comes to photographic cameras. It's basically image quality at its best. And they've gone with Hasselblad for this lens. The second lens, the Lens, the Telephoto Lens, the long one, which is a 7x zoom. Not sure how that works. It is the equivalent of a 160mm lens, written down right here with a 15-degree angle of view. Now it says 7x zoom. Is that what? I don't know. Maybe the 24mm lens zooms in to the 160mm, giving it a 7x zoom. Maybe, but 160mm focal length on a drone. So the wide lens has an f2.8, which is nice and open, and you can, just like the Mavic 2, you can shut it all the way down to f11, which is fantastic. You won't really have to use ND filters if you don't want to. However, the Mavic 3 does come with ND filters, and the Cine model comes with a whole bunch of ND filters, which is probably going to hurt a few companies like Polar Pro and Freewell. We'll see what kind of quality they are. The 24mm lens has a 1 meter minimal focus distance, which is pretty cool. So it'll be about here from the camera, so you could do some, you know, nice artistic small depth of field kind of shots, which will be really nice. I think Philip Bloom did some of that with the Air 2S. It looked really beautiful. It's 20 megapixels, and it's a micro four thirds sensor on the wide Hasselblad lens, which means it is bigger than the 1-inch sensor in this little monster. Another thing I like about this, which I can't stand about the Mini 2 or the Air 2S, is that this is cinematic. It has a cinematic image. It's sharp, but it's soft. Whereas the image on the Mini 2 and the Air 2S is photographic. It is razor sharp. And if you look at films, they're not razor sharp. They have a quality, they have a characteristic that's very soft but sharp. It's cinematic. Cinematic lenses don't have to be sharp. They just have to have a kind of a unique feeling to them. And I hope this will allow us to change the profile so we can soften it up, we can make it a little bit more vibrant, we can sharpen it, we can do different things. The wide lens is going to be mechanical and electronic when it comes to the shutter, which is fantastic because the telephoto lens will only be electronic. Now it's going to be able to do 8-second shutter, open shutter, 8-second exposures to 1/8000th, so that's pretty cool. The ISO in video is from 100 to 6400, and the ISO in photo goes from 100 to 12800. I'm seriously wondering what kind of noise is going to come out of that, but we'll see. That's for photo, by the way, 12800. Now, the telephoto lens has a aperture of 4.4. This is all in the manual, leaked, so, you know, I haven't seen this drone. I don't know if it's real, but whatever's being leaked looks very real, and I kind of believe it. It's got a 3 meters focal distance when it comes to the minimal focus distance, so you're going to have to be quite far away, but it's a 160mm lens. That's insane. It's a 12 megapixel sensor, and it's 1/2 inch, so it's not an inch like the Mavic 2, but it's 1/2 inch. And it only has an electronic shutter, and it will open up maximum to 1 second when it comes to the shutter to 1/8000. And the ISO goes from 100 to 3200. That's for all of it, the photo and the film, because in the 24mm video is 6400 max and the photo is 12800 max. So, you know, they've done a lot with Hasselblad on that wide lens, and I'm sure it's going to be spectacular. All of this, by the way, in 5.7K Apple ProRes apparently, which is going to really be very nice if you've got a MacBook Pro and you're editing on, you know, the M1 and you've got Final Cut Pro. It's going to be lightning fast workflow. 46-minute flight time max, obviously no wind, probably no flying, but still 46 minutes. That's a huge step up from the 31 minutes on the Mavic 2. I mean, 46 minutes. Interesting. 920 grams, we already talked about that. Apparently no CE stamped. It's rumored there's no CE stamp. I'm wondering if I can stamp it myself. I don't know. Do I care? Probably not, but I'm sure a lot of you guys out there care. I'm sure you do. USB-C, so that's going to be nice. I mean, the Mavic 2 has a USB-C, that's fine. Wide angle corner avoidance sensors. So it's not like this one where you've got one here, you've got ones on the side, you've got like ones on the back. It's going to have them in the corners, in the actual corner of the drone, making it apparently even better when it comes to avoidance. So you've got these wide angle sensors all around, and it's basically all around avoidance. So it's not going to be like the Air 2S, which is going to slam into the side of something because it doesn't, you know, no comment. Minus 10 centigrade to 40 centigrade. I think the Mavic 2 Pro has that as well, but you know, the Mini is to 0, and I've flown it at minus 25 centigrade. Centigrade? Celsius. I'm going mad today. It's the Mavic 3. It's frying my brain. So minus 10 basically probably means you can fly in Utusk at minus 60. That's fantastic. And the battery goes in from the back, so it's not like the 2 Pro where the battery comes in from here. You're going to slide it in the back like you know, all the new drones that are out there now. And the last thing, 2 remotes. So we're going to have the normal remote that comes with the Air 2S, the Mini 2, which is fantastic, and I love it because this thing is the most awkward, horrible thing ever in the world. I hate this with a passion. That's actually why I fly the Mini 2 more, because I don't like the control. But when I do get this thing up in the air and I forget about the remote, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So you get the normal remote, which is, I don't know, got OcuSync, whatever, and it's probably gonna do 10 kilometers. But if you splash out, sell your car, kidney, and maybe your girlfriend for the Mavic Free Cine, you're gonna get the smart controller version 2, which means you're probably gonna have 15 kilometers, which might be a little bit beyond VLOS, like just a little bit, but I mean, if you could see it at 14 kilometers, you'll be fine. 15 kilometers is quite far. And that's going to be able to have a 3-hour battery, 1,000 nits when it comes to brightness, and it's going to have a dongle. Aren't dongles very 2006? Who uses dongles? Anyway, they didn't send me one, so thanks DJI. Thanks for all the effort I've put into your films. That's cool. I am going to buy it. I'm going to buy it, but probably the Mavic Free combo, because I don't think anybody's going to buy my car. Also, I do need a car. So yeah, if you guys want to discuss any of this that I've just talked about, or the pictures that I've shown that are leaks from Twitter, and somebody is in a lot of trouble for breaking the NDA, a lot, then drop them in the comments below. We'll talk about it, because I am very, very excited, extremely excited, and I will be taking it everywhere. It's going to replace the Mini 2 for me. Sorry guys, it will. But Mini 3 comes out, it's probably going to replace that, so you know how it is. Likes, subscribe if you want to be in on this party for November the 15th, and going to catch you on the next one. This was an amazing drone. It still is, it still is. I've flown it recently, and just, it's cinematic, not photographic.